Hey, it's Thursday, and one of the verses in the valley for me is when I broke my neck. I was T-boned out here on Evergreen in Richmond, and I fractured my C5 and C6, and it's healing up, and God's good. And of all the battles that I've been facing in the valley, this is the one, here's what's interesting, that people ask me about the most, but probably hurt me the least. And here's the reason why, because a lot of times people see your wounds, your external wounds and your external battles, and that's what they ask about because it's the safest thing to ask. But if you're like me, you know it's the things that people don't see that hurt the most. It's the pain that we carry that no one really knows about, and if they do, they're a little reluctant to ask because they don't know how to phrase it. They don't know what to say. They don't want to say the wrong thing. They don't want to be offensive. And I know many of you have been like and are like that with me. And so you've just been gracious and you've prayed for me. And quite honestly, your prayers are the most important thing. So anyways, one of the verses in my valley that I've been reciting is actually it's a verse from probably about a year or two ago. My dad heard another preacher quote the verse, and he said it to me, and I chuckled because I was like, Dad, I don't think I ever read that verse. And the verse is found in Psalm 119, and it says this: "It was good for me to be afflicted," David said, "so that I might learn your decrees." Psalm 119:71. It is good for me to be afflicted. So anyways, a couple weeks ago, I got clearance from the doctor to go back to the YMCA, which, if you know me, I love the Y, and I love to exercise, and it's good for me. It's good for my soul. It's good for my emotional sobriety. And so anyways, I was at the Y, and everybody's like, "Man, I haven't seen you in a while." And I'm like, "Yeah, I broke my neck." And they're like, "Oh, what happened?" And tell the story, and So anyways, I saw a guy, his name is Jim, and Jim's like, "Oh man, I heard." Well, just so happened that I saw Jim like the next day at the Y. And on that particular morning, I wasn't, let's just say the valley was getting the best of me that morning, right? Like, I don't know, maybe I didn't watch the Daily Dose. I didn't do much hair time, but I was just a little, I don't know. I was just, I just had an edge to me. You've ever had an edge? Okay, I had an edge. So Jim says to me, and Jim's a really nice guy, young guy, he's got a couple kids, and he said, "Hey, how's the neck?" And so I just said, "Still broken." And he kind of looked at me. In the middle of the YMCA, it's like 6:30, I quote the verse. I said, "But Jim, it was good for me to be afflicted." And he looked at me like, "Oh my gosh, is this guy losing his mind?" I said, "It's good for me to be afflicted because it taught me to learn the decrees of God." And he's looking at me like, "Okay." And I said, I don't know. I just started ranting. I got to be honest with you. I was like, "Yeah, that's what's wrong with us today." I said, we never want to go through something that's really hard in order to learn something that's really good. And I'm learning something good about God. That's why it's good for me to be afflicted. And then I sat back down on the incline bench and I went back to work. And he walks off, and I was telling some old guys in our church about this. And one of my friends, Tom, said to me, I said, "Well, at least he won't forget that encounter." I thought to myself, Tom, it wasn't the best evangelism strategy, but you know what? It's the truth. Sometimes it's good for us to be afflicted because one of the sayings in the weight room is no pain, no gain. And maybe the same is true for us in our spiritual lives. If it doesn't challenge us, it doesn't change us. If there's no strain, there's no strength. If there's no affliction, there's less affirmation from the Spirit that we're taking the right steps in the valley. So let this verse be a verse in your valley. It was good for me to be afflicted. It was good. It's good for you. Welcome to the Daily Dose. It's good for you to be afflicted on this Wednesday morning. Just smile and say, "God, I'm going to learn some of your decrees today, so that I might learn from you." I'll see you tomorrow on the Daily Dose.